I don't know. Portability is an interesting topic because I think for a lot of people, it's not like they're literally trying to move their applications around all the time. Like, I've been doing cloud for a long time, and I always get in conversations about like bursting workloads to cloud and about like price arbitrage in cloud. And I'm like, these are really fun conversations, but like nobody's actually doing this.
And they're old conversations.
They're old.
Too,
they've been talking about it from the beginning. Like everyone's like, what do you do for bursting? I'm like, does it really matter? Are you doing bursting? No, we just like to ask about it. Like nobody's actually doing it. So portability, I think, is more about like insurance. It's just like insurance for the future that if I need to, I have an understanding of what the cost of motion will be because I'm built on a way that gives me some level of independence from my hosting platform. So I think that's like one dimension of portability. And then the other dimension of portability is just like agility for the future. I've worked with a number of other partners in the IBM cloud context where they've built Kubernetes-based code architectures, and they started on AWS and then they got a good deal from Azure and they moved to Azure later. And then I came along and now they've moved on IBM cloud, and that it allowed them to kind of exploit a business opportunity because they had an architecture that allowed them to have code portability, right? But if you don't solve both, if you don't have like a good understanding of what you're doing with the data and a good understanding of the code, it's kind of like academic, right? Whether you're actually going to achieve any benefit out of it.
In my world so I would have answered that question about 3 to 4 years ago exclusively from the perspective of data gravity, right? Where's most of your data? It's expensive to move it. You want to mine it now that you have it somewhere. So you're going to basically, organically develop and organically maintain most of your services around where the data currently lives. It could be on-prem if there's too much on-prem. Certainly could be in, one cloud provider that started with some aggressive storage pricing and then sort of a honeypot business model. What I find today, though, is that data gravity still matters, but I'm also considering service gravity, right? So if a cloud has better security services, more security on by default, easier monitoring and so forth, that's a form of gravity that's very attractive to me right now, particularly in our context where relatively we're data light. And other, whether it's machine learning services and other cool, and a community, community gravity as well. So for me, it's always a gravity discussion, but it's definitely evolved from sort of a core resource like data to these other key things.
That's an interesting way to look at it. I mean, it's like almost like the opportunity cost of running in an environment. And if you find a platform that makes security easier, then that's a whole list of work that you don't have to do anymore, right? That you can kind of defer to the platform, and that provides value to you that might move you in that direction. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.